Hey there, everybody. Assalamu alaikum. Hope you guys are doing good. Welcome back for another amazing episode of the Marhaba Crypto Show. Today, like always, I have Mufti Bilal and Moby's on his way. Mufti Bilal, how are you doing? How's UK? I hear the weather's not so bad right now.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Yeah, I mean, actually, there's no hope in this weather, in the UK weather. So, what can I say?
It can almost start raining, huh?
Yeah,
Is that what you're trying to
exactly.
say? I
Exactly.
remember I was there
And
for a week. We were just sitting at a restaurant, and it was like perfectly fine weather. And then by the time they were like, and we thought it wasn't gonna rain, so we were at the restaurant, and I had actually bus there. I didn't even take an Uber or something, so I was there, and we finished food, and I'm like, bro, like it's raining like crazy. I can't go back in this, and then I called Uber, and then I had to go back. But yeah.
I mean, the radiators on my house last night. So, we're in the end of May.
Yeah. Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay, so we're gonna get the show started today. So we're gonna have Mufti Blog going first, and Moby will come and do the market updates, and then I will tell you guys about some really exciting stuff about Marhaba that's upcoming, and also some awards that we won. So which is very cool. Mufti Blog, the floor is yours. Let us know on the Sharia aspects of which project are you talking about today.
Today, we're looking at ETF, actually.
Got it. Okay, floor is yours.
So, as you know, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. So, as there's a new ETF that's been launched in Australia, along. I think it's a joint between Switzerland company or something like that, and an
Mm-hmm.
Australian one or something like that. But anyway, it's being launched. It's an ETF on Bitcoin. It's a Bitcoin ETF and is being launched in Australia. So this is the first Bitcoin ETF in Australia. And apparently, this was meant to be launched some time ago, and it got
Mm-hmm.
delayed, and now it's been launched eventually. So today we're going to be talking about the ETF because it is not the only ETF on Bitcoin or crypto around the world. So in fact, they are other ETF, but we will talk about it very briefly in a moment. So ETF. So what are they exactly? So ETF means exchange traded fund. Okay. Now usually these ETF they're kind of more associated with stock market. Okay. Now recently we have ETF in crypto. Now,
Mm-hmm.
ETF in crypto is basically pretty similar to ETF related to stock. And the ETF can be like a fund that either tracks one particular cryptocurrency, or it tracks a basket of various cryptocurrencies. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And in in that in this type of crypto ETF, you're gonna have two type of ETF. You're gonna have like the physical one, and you're also gonna have the synthetic one. Now, the synthetic one, as I said earlier about the stock ETF, is basically it's you investing in a fund that actually does not hold the physical Bitcoin itself. They haven't or crypto. They don't own the crypto. They have invested in an instrument that is trying to mimic the performance of these cryptos. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so usually it's what they do is okay. So what which one are they? So so far we knew of one. Okay, there was one that we knew of, which was launched last year or the year before that. Yeah, it was 2021 when ETF Bitcoin launched in the USA.
Mm-hmm.
One name for it is BITO. Okay, it
Mm-hmm.
was launched by ProShares Bitcoin.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, it was launched by ProShares, and it's called ProShares Bitcoin ETF. or the other name for it is BITO. Okay, so this was launched in the USA. Okay, and it actually came in the news. I think it was yesterday, because if I'm not wrong, yesterday that the fund was kind of victim of short sellers yesterday. So what the fund does is instead of buying Bitcoin, what they did is they invested mainly in Bitcoin futures. Okay, so they bought future contracts of Bitcoin. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and they invested in other instruments as well. They invested in bonds, etc., and cash asset that generate interest. And they
Yep.
invested in these things. Yeah. So by you investing in BITO, you don't actually own Bitcoin. You don't actually own a share of real Bitcoin. You just you don't own anything basically. You invested in some kind of derivative asset. Okay. So these are a
Mm-hmm.
synthetic ETF. A
Mm-hmm.
synthetic ETF such as BITO is non-Sharia compliant. Okay, it is not non-Sharia compliant because A, they invest in interest-bearing instruments,
Mm-hmm.
and B, the future contract they're problematic from a Sharia perspective. Okay, like for
Mm-hmm.
example, uh, the future contract, conventional future contract is very similar to the sale of a debt against a debt,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because one party owes you something, the other party, and you owe something to the other party. There's no exchange at the time. You're just selling a contract of something that's going to take place in the future. There's no down payment or anything like that. So
Mm-hmm.
it's very similar to the sale of a debt against a debt, and for that reason, it becomes problematic from a Sharia perspective. So this ETF Bitcoin launch in the USA, ProShares Bitcoin ETF, is problematic from a Sharia perspective. Okay, and you should not invest in it. The second type of crypto ETF is the physical one. Okay, now example of physical crypto ETF is one called Hashdex Etf, and it has been launched in Brazil. And what that does is a fund that has got that has invested in a basket of various physical crypto. So it includes, Bitcoin, Uni token, and various other tokens. I think there's about 10 of them in total, and they have also some cash as well in that fund, US dollar.
Mm-hmm.
Now, so this is one type. Okay, so ETF. So if you were to buy a share in the Hashdex ETF, so you have now exposure to these various cryptocurrencies without
Mm-hmm.
actually buying them individually. Do you understand? So the fund has bought all these cryptocurrencies,
Mm-hmm.
he owns them. When you buying a share in that ETF, is as if you own them indirectly. You own a share of these cryptos indirectly. Now, you are not going to see these cryptos in your wallet. This is one thing as well you have to remember is that why people do that is that because you can have exposure to crypto without actually creating any sort of wallet as well. So you don't need a
Mm-hmm.
wallet, okay, a
Mm-hmm.
crypto wallet. You don't need that,
Mm-hmm.
and you still can have exposure to the crypto markets.
Yep.
So here is the same thing. So in this Hashdex ETF, instead of you buying Bitcoin, buying Uni token, and all these chain link and I don't know, there are other cryptocurrency in there. Instead of you buying them individually, you just buy a share in the Hashdex ETF, and essentially you now have exposure to all these cryptocurrencies.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then you have Bitcoin ETF launch in Australia, and this ETF that has been launched in Australia, as opposed to the one that was launched in the USA, is an actual physical investment, meaning that the fund has purchased real Bitcoin and he owns Bitcoin. He didn't
Mhm.
invest in future. He actually bought Bitcoin. So essentially, when you're buying a share of that ETF, it was as if that you have an indirect ownership of real Bitcoin, basically, as opposed
Mhm.
to the USA one. Now, I did say earlier that when it comes to synthetic ETF uh, in crypto, most likely it is not Sharia compliant, or it is not Sharia compliant because currently there's one that we know of, and that one is not Sharia compliant, the one which is in the USA, ProShares Bitcoin ETF. But when it comes to the physical crypto ETF, potentially it can be Sharia compliant. So
Mhm.
ETF in itself is not something that is categorically haram, first of all.
Yeah.
Yeah. It could be halal based on various conditions.
Mhm.
Okay. Now, for example, when it comes to Hashdex ETF, for example, potentially it can be Sharia compliant.
Mhm.
But then we would need what we would need to make sure, because it's a basket of various cryptocurrencies. What we would need to ensure is that the underlying currencies in the basket, they are all Sharia compliant. If there is
Mhm.
any cryptocurrency in there that is not Sharia compliant, then it's going to be problematic. Understand? So this is so when you are buying an ETF of a that has invested in various cryptocurrencies, you have to ensure that they're all Sharia compliant. Okay,
Mhm.
but when it comes to ETF Bitcoin, yeah, that we know obviously Bitcoin is Sharia compliant. So can you actually buy ETF that is fully invested in Bitcoin? Potentially, it can be Sharia compliant. I think obviously it needs a bit more information, because sometimes what could happen is that they tell you this, but then you need to dig into the documentation
Mhm.
to check whether this is truly the case. Because, uh, like for example, I mentioned about the USA ETF, BITO.
Mhm.
They tell you that they invest in uh, Bitcoin futures. Okay,
Mhm.
I know futures is not Sharia compliant, so the argument stops there. But it doesn't mean they just invest in futures. They invest in other things as well. They invest in bonds as well, for example.
Mhm.
You understand? Or they could. I think in the past they have, or I'm not sure about now, but they have invested in treasury bills. Yeah.
Mhm.
So sometimes you don't know the full side of the story as well. You read on internet, they just tell you one side. They don't tell you the full details. So it's only when you start to dig a little bit more, you find out more about it. So when it comes to ETF Bitcoin, if they truly invest in Bitcoin, okay, I will say.
Mhm.
But yeah, otherwise, if you can just buy Bitcoin, that would be better if you can just buy it directly rather than going by the backdoor. But like I said, people who invest in ETF, usually crypto, is because maybe they don't want to have a wallet, or they don't know how to invest at all. We always talk about people not knowing how to invest in crypto. So
Mhm.
by investing in an ETF, not only they don't need to have a wallet, so there's never going to be any question of them trying or transferring crypto fund to a different address by mistake or something like that. And also one how do you call it, another advantage of investing in an ETF crypto is that it is regulated. Do you understand? So because it is
Mhm.
regulated, it gives that confidence more to investors, that instead of me doing it directly and going into DeFi and you know investing in cryptos that where there's no protection or anything like that, why not just go through the ETF route where there might be better protection for myself. So that's why people might want to look into it. But as I said, there are some Sharia consideration that needs to be given in terms of the ETF Bitcoin of the launch in Australia. So if if somebody is confident, he has done his research and is confident to say that it is fully Sharia compliant, then good for him. He can invest in that.
Mhm. Okay, very interesting. So, before I give my comments, we have Moby here. Moby, Assalamu alaikum. How are you doing? What's going on, brother?
Welcome salam. Good, good. Sorry for being late, but the show must go on. So I'm glad Mufti
See,
Saab jumped in first. Assalamu alaikum, Mufti Saab.
Walaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
how's Australia? How are the kangaroos? Are they hopping? Are they skipping? What's going on?
Yeah, man, they're very bearish right now.
They're,
They're very upset. Their heads are down. You know, they're not really excited, but that's okay.
they're very
That's fine.
sad.
I
They're
just
very
I just
sad.
tell them to be patient and be prepared for more downside.
uh, fair enough. Fair enough. Moby, any comments on Mufti Bilal's point before I give my little two cents on the ETFs and mutual funds and stuff like that?
Yeah, I mean it's interesting, right? At our level, for us, it's just easier to hold spot ETF. So
Mm-hmm.
it is interesting. I do understand there's a place for it for the market. Obviously, for institutional buyers, the on ramp, the ability for them to jump onto those is easier than it is for us. So from one side, I understand the impact on the market, but on the other side, you know, for us, it makes a lot more sense as we're crypto first. We're crypto natives, so you know, we just keep holding crypto the way we hold crypto. And I guess the Mufti Sub touched on this as well. Not your crypto, not your keys, not your keys, not your crypto type of thing. So for me, just, you know, traditionally we just feel comfortable holding our own Bitcoin and our own crypto.
Yeah, yeah. Likewise. I mean, I've used ETFs in the past, and specifically with commodities, and seen them do fairly well for myself. But again, it's dependent on exactly what Mufti Bilal said. It's what the ETF is, what's the back end, like the asset that they have. Is it completely share compliant or not? And all those things matter. Now, Mufti Bilal, just a question on this, because IOFI rule in stocks allow you 30%. Now, in crypto, let's just say an ETF is 30% non-share compliant, but the rest is share compliant. Would you think that you can still get involved with that?
No, I don't think we can. It's that straightforward.
Mm-hmm.
I think it needs more consideration.
Okay.
See, these ratios put in place by IOFI. I mean, I'm talking about in my personal opinion. Is that
Yeah.
they were put there. How can I say that? Because there was a need for it. There was a need for investors, to get to be able to invest in stock market, etc. And because there's great benefit in investing in stock market. Obviously you can raise fund, and you can channel fund from surplus units to deficit unit, etc. So there's a need to have stock market, okay,
Mm-hmm.
for an economy to work fine. And therefore there was a need to make some tolerable rules, and they came up with these ratios, because otherwise there's no way somebody can probably invest in the stock market. Yeah. And when it comes to crypto, I don't think it's the same. I
Same.
don't.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. What you're saying is correct.
We need to look at it from a different angle. Okay, and it's
Mm-hmm.
just, I don't think it's a matter. Look, at the end of the day, we do look at IOFI. I mean, I'm talking about Marhaba Sharia, but we do look at IOFI standard whenever we can, when we need to look at whether something is Sharia compliant or not. Yeah. But at the end of the day, IOFI has got no standard on crypto.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we use IOFI as a guidance, yes, but IOFI has got no guidance of crypto. So for all we know, if ever, inshallah, ever, they feel that crypto is something that can be Sharia compliant, etc., and they come up with their own, own standard,
Regulation. Yeah.
then we will have to look at what they say.
Fair enough.
You know what I mean?
Fair enough. Okay. Cool. 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 Mufti Bilal, before I move over to Moby's part, do you want to stay, or do you? I know you said you have some things important going
Yes,
on.
that's right. So I'm gonna leave now, and
Okay.
take care, inshallah. Next
No
time, see
worries.
you
Thank
guys.
you so much.
Inshallah.
Take care of
Take care.
yourself. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Okay, Moby, my friend. So exciting stuff happening, huh? The market's super crazy, isn't it? No movement at all. It's been in the same place.
Sorry,
Tell me
I was just
tell
on
me
mute
what's
there.
going on. Yeah. Tell me what's going on.
What did we say last week, right? What did we say
Yeah.
last week? We said it's gonna go down.
Yeah.
There's a chance that we could only be halfway down, and we're
Mhm.
down. Like I'm not surprised. Like I'm really not surprised. Like it's not
Yeah.
like, oh, shock horror, we're down from last week. We knew this was coming, you
Yeah.
know. So it's from that point of view, we're not too surprised. Also, on the Ethereum side, there was some options expiries happening. So the bears pushed that down to obviously liquidate a lot more people. So we'll talk
Mhm.
about that as well. So yeah, honestly, par for the course, as they say, right? No real surprises right now, and strap yourselves in, because if you're gonna have a heart attack every time Bitcoin drops a few $1,000s, you're not gonna make it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. There's again, like, I mean, this is what everybody needs to understand. This is type of a market which we've never seen before. I mean, if you're in the 2000 or 1997 era and you were investing then into the dot-com boom, you've probably seen something like this. But yeah, interesting stuff. So maybe tell us, what's the market updates? What do you consider? What do you non-financial advice us?
Yes, absolutely. So I'll just go ahead and share my screen. Let's do that.
Nice.
Ooh, window. Okay, awesome. All right. There we go. You should be able to see that now.
Perfect.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
All right. So, look, from a high level, like I said, this is kind of going down the trend. The trend is your friend. The trend is your friend or your enemy. You don't fight against the trend, essentially, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, Bitcoin closed 8 weeks in a row. Now, what you may not, and this is kind of interesting too, right? This is like a head and shoulders. I think I drew this last time. I can't remember. I jumped on the chart and we had this, and it's pretty much hit that level. That's sort of the target when you have a head and shoulder. And I did say it was a rough head and shoulder, so I'm not going to
Mm-hmm.
say I predicted this. I said it was rough. It may not happen, but we obviously
Mm-hmm.
hit that level right now. Now, what you may not know, or what people listening might not know, is how much lower we can move. So when we do actually go down 6, 7, 8 weeks, there's a pattern, right? And there's a pattern I sort of want to refer everyone to here, and this is called like a fractal, where when you sort of look at a pattern that we are sort of already following, have we followed that before? And that's often called a fractal. So you can
Mm-hmm.
see here, the ones in blue, they're from 2014. And it's a fractal that I found online. And essentially, if we mirror the last time we declined for 6, 7 weeks, Bitcoin can easily fall to 14K. And based on this fractal, by July 4th, right? So by July 4th, this sort of fractal is saying we'll hit that by then. And then in a very short period, you're looking at it in a period of days. If maybe a week, we would bounce to 28K as well. So that's something to be sort of mindful of. What do we now? We look at Bitcoin right now, 28,000. Another 10, 14,000 is really not outside of the realm of possibility. When you look at the total crypto market cap, we're sitting at 1.2. That's down from 1.3. I think last time we spoke about this, and this is a long term, not a long term trend line, but you can sort of see here we've hit that. This is very perfectly validated, textbook validation here. A lot of confirmation. So if you look at the fractal, or if you look at this, we're still going to go down. You know what I mean? Like, we have to bounce off this, or well, no, we have to. It's very likely and probable that we must bounce off this trend line before we can
For
go
sure.
up. And we're just here. So we still need to sort of hit this. We still need to do that. And that's another, what you're looking at, about 800 to 900 million. And right now we're at 1.2. So that's another, what 10%, 15% or so. So it's more likely there is more sort of downside there to go. Another report I'll sort of show, and this again from our friends at Token Metrics, and there's an affiliate link in the show notes or the description if you want to purchase this yourself. But you can see here, you're looking at the total crypto market cap in white, and then you're looking at the altcoin market cap and then the Bitcoin market cap. And I don't know if you can see that there. You see how like the gap is shortening, right? You can see
Yep.
like you have this wide gap between altcoin and Bitcoin, and shortening, shortening, shortening. It's squeezing, squeezing, squeezing. So it's getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And again, like we said last week, that's why when a market is getting smashed, Bitcoin is the safest haven because it is like the slowest moving thing. Like it's not likely going to drop 95% like some of the other coins. That's the safest or the least worst place to put your money. You can sort of put it that
Yeah.
way, right?
Mm-hmm.
Any questions
Mm-hmm.
there before I move off Bitcoin, Ahmed?
No, no, it's pretty straightforward.
Makes sense. So I want to kick it to Ethereum. So a little bit of, I don't want to say bad news, but it's kind of like the market right now, anything it can find, any like little thing, like, Bitcoin, Ethereum, coughs the wrong way and the market loses its crap. You know what I mean? So, like I said before, we had $157 million Ethereum liquidations. Now, this also coincided with, we mentioned last week that ETH 2.0 is supposed to be coming, right? The move
Mm-hmm.
from proof of work to proof of stake is supposed to be coming in August, September. And right now they're doing a lot of beacon chain testing. So, they have kind of these ghost chains or these shadow chains where they do a lot of their tests first, which is good, which is really, really good. It's really reassuring to know that they're testing these stuffs because if the tests go through, it's very, very likely and probable that the mainnet, transfer happens. So we actually hit a little bit of a snag, unfortunately. And you can tell that the market, at this point, Ahmed, like you were saying last week, like it's been delayed so many times, right? So anytime again Ethereum sneezes, people are like, oh shit, it's not happened, it's not going to happen, So what
Mm-hmm.
actually happened this time round, for a brief moment during that transition, the beacon chain forked. So it kind of split, it duplicated, and it was creating different transactions on these different sort of forks. Now they quickly rectified and everything, and honestly, it's good to know that they're testing this stuff, but the market didn't like that. And that
Mm-hmm.
coincided with the options expiry as well. So that wasn't really that great. Now, one thing I will say though is, and this is a thing, Ahmed, Vitalik Buterin is probably the only guy that can save crypto right now. The only guy, right? Like if there's not much else good news in the market right now. But if ETH
Yeah, I see what you're
2.0
saying.
happens and the merge happens and it happens in August, right? Like this could be a huge catalyst for altcoins. Absolutely
Yeah.
huge. If he doesn't, or it's not really him, right? But if they don't and they screw it up, then man, God help crypto. It's just going to be a prolonged bear market, So
Maybe
it's the
that's
only
what's
thing
gonna
that can
trigger it to the
jumpstart.
14. I think maybe that's what's gonna trigger it to go to the 14K part mark.
Well, at this point now, I think 14K, if 14K happens, that's like July. So, in August, we're supposed to have ETH 2.0 merge, but yeah, it could be around that time, give or take
Yeah.
a month or so, right? So absolutely. Having said that, though, ignoring that for a moment, when you look at ETH priced in Bitcoin, so the ETH Bitcoin pair, ETH actually has been
Mm-hmm.
doing pretty well. So this here, you can see, like, if I go all the way back, right? If I go all the way back to here, like where we are right now, that's at the same level of October, same level of roughly same level of May. You know what I mean? So like we're actually doing better than we did in the drop that we had after May. So it's actually held up pretty well. Like we haven't seen this huge crash. So when you look at where these crashes happened, right, you're looking at around here, but it's relatively held up pretty well. Like we haven't made
Mm-hmm.
a new low yet. So, and the other thing too, when you look at the linear regression band, we might be at this channel right now. We might be at the bottom of this channel where we could sort of bounce from give or take one or two standard deviation points. So Ethereum is holding up pretty well compared to Bitcoin, and honestly, on my mind, it's like the safest risk reward bet right now. You know, but you were saying yourself, you kind of like playing life on the edge. Now I feel like I'm sort of playing by the seat of my pants here, waiting on this ETH merge, and a lot is riding on it. But
Mm-hmm.
that plays off, this could be a pretty good bet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Thoughts,
yeah, yeah,
Ahmed?
for
What do you
sure.
reckon?
I
So,
Yeah, no, I'm looking at it, and while you were talking, because I was looking at these charts some time back. Also, I was just considering maybe because looking at the charts and the way it's trending, I was thinking maybe going in a little bit, and yeah, bring my average cost of Ethereum down. Why not? If I had the chance to do it now.
Yeah. I mean, it's all everything's bad, but it's holding up pretty well. I think that's
Yeah,
apart from this last 7% dip we've had, it's holding up not too bad compared to the rest of the market. Now,
yeah.
speaking of the rest of the market, Luna, we spoke about Luna last week. We had a really fun conversation around Luna. We had a couple of snippets released from that as well, so definitely check them out on the channel. That was a lot of fun that we had talking about Doquan and whatnot. Now, anyway, the Terra Luna 2.0 or Luna 2.0, whatever you want to call it, they're they're leaving the old one because it's blockchain. It's not much you can do. It's probably going to be Luna Classic now. The Terra 2.0 mainnet went live today. Actually, this article is from an hour ago, so this is fresh. That's how fresh we bring the news to you. So it went live today. And, they're already producing blocks, and essentially they've got a plan right now. So if you held Terra Luna, which is now called Terra Luna Classic, USD, Anchor Protocol, you're eligible to receive the tokens in your Terra Station wallet or Terra wallet if you have that already. I don't. I got out of that scam coin a while ago, so I don't. But I don't know. Like, it's kind of like more of the same. You know what I mean? It's Do Kwon. You know what I mean? Like, for me, leadership is really, really important. Like, in thesis, I look at a lot of things. Like, that's the reason why Merhaba was really interesting for me. If Merhaba had everything going for it that it does, but the team was questionable, then I'd be like, I'm out. It doesn't matter how good the project is, doesn't matter how big the market is and what all the developments are. If the leadership isn't trustworthy, I'm out. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
that's
you
kind of my
invest in
philosophy.
people. It's part of investing philosophy that you gotta invest in the people also.
100%.
Yeah,
That's the way I do business in my other business with clients. When we hire people, investing people, you know what I mean? It can make up for some shortfalls on other areas too, to be honest with you. But
yeah,
it's kind of the reason why, actually, funnily enough, I'm going to talk about Tron today as well to give away a little bit of a surprise. But why I got out of Tron last year as well, when I did some digging on what's his name? It will come to me in a second when we jump on the article. But the founder of Tron, you know what I mean? I was like, I don't know, man. He doesn't have a great reputation. And when you have so many things to pick from, you have like a fruit salad of cryptos you can pick from, and you also not to pick things sometimes. So, honestly, I hope this works really, really well for the sake of all the people who lost hundreds of thousands. Some people lost millions of dollars. To be honest, if you lost millions of dollars, you probably have millions elsewhere as well. But for the average Joe Blow who lost money, I hope this works out. I think they are going to have a vesting period, so you can't just pump and dump. But, who knows? To be honest, it's not something I'm going to be looking into myself. Anything else there, Ahmed, in terms of Terra Luna? Because I know we spoke about it a fair bit.
no, I have some. I had some. How do I say this? I have some Luna, which I'm gonna look into this because it's fresh news for
You
me.
might
So
get
I'm gonna look into it.
you might get some new Luna. Yeah, you might get Luna 2.0, and then just pump and
Yeah,
dump it.
I think I'll just
you
I'll
know,
just I'll just switch it into XRP. Why not, right? From one
yeah.
coin.
Why not? One shit coin for another shit coin. That makes sense. One for the other. Look, in all seriousness, I think if you at this, you guys can tell I'm not interested at all. I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole. But if you are interested, do your own research and look at the
Yeah,
tokenomics. Like, if they're going to link it to an algorithmic stablecoin again, or they're doing these questionable, AP. Man, this stuff doesn't stop. Like, the market does not learn.
yeah,
In about 60 seconds, I'm going to show news that tells you the market does not learn. People don't learn. So if it's anything similar to that, then history does repeat itself. So steer clear.
yeah. I was
Now,
actually at a conference yesterday, and I met someone who's actually building a stablecoin for a specific country. And he was telling me about how he's gonna do it and all the things behind it. And I was like, I pushed this button. I said, "Is it gonna be like Terra Luna? Is it gonna be like UST?" And so, yeah, there's people are still working on it. Things are still going on, and you're right. The market doesn't learn.
I mean, the Mufti Saab was talking about this earlier, right? Like things need to be backed by something. They need to be
Yeah,
backed by something. So this is not the first time we've had a death spiral for algorithmic stablecoin. It's at least the
yeah,
second time that I know, if not this, and there's probably more examples too. So it obviously doesn't work. So why? And Islamically, it doesn't work either. Like Islamically, things need to be backed by something.
yeah. That's why we believe in the
So
gold
anyway,
standard. Right now, the Fed system is pretty much money being printed from the air, and very little to do with justification of how that money is getting its value. Supply and demand is just one of the players, but there's a lot of things to do. There's a reason why there's so much political stuff, because they have to justify the value somehow, and so when they can't justify with real value, then they justify with political and um, other formats of value. I don't want to get into too many details of all politics
no,
here.
and we're feeling it now, right? That's why we're in this mess. That's why we're all
Yeah,
in this mess right now because of a compliance. We
yeah,
can't
that's
control
the
it. We
reality of
can't
it.
cry about it. There's not much we can do about it. We can just live our own, Islamic, Muslim lives. But that's why that's why inflation is what it is. We wouldn't have inflation right now if
Yeah,
it wasn't for money printing. Do you know what I mean? We wouldn't have homes that cost 10 times the amount that they should. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Yeah, absolutely. It
yeah.
is what the proof is in the pudding.
We would have natural inflation, but not artificial inflation. Like natural inflation stuff, like
Not like
okay,
this. Yeah, but not like now. Not like
yeah,
now
it's
when
like
like
it's
inflation
like
is
the
it's
last
like
year we had.
30%. It's
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Well, I mean, natural inflation is like, for example, last year we had 100 apples. This year we only have 80 apples. So then the 80 apples prices will go up, right?
supply
That's natural
demand. Yeah.
inflation. Yeah. So stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah, not this crazy stuff that we're seeing right now. So anyway, moving on. I wanted to have a quick look at DeFi Llama, right? Just looking at, because like we like to say on this show, follow the money, look at what's happening at the markets, like where are people actually investing money to get yields from, right? So looking at DeFi Llama, one thing you'll notice, Tron, right? See, like, oh, you see all these red everywhere. And then you see Tron, you see like 1 day change, 2%, 7 day change, 37%, 1 month change, 42%. Like what's going on, right? Like $5.8 billion invested there. And then and I want to talk about it's kind of trumped Avalanche, right? And like I said, I like the coins that are steadily building, right? Not like, Terra Luna went all the way up to second, went to second total value locked, and now it's not even in the top 30. It's always somewhere in the bottom, right? 35 now. It's falling every single time I look at it.
hmm
So this one, they're not as bad. They're definitely not as bad. But let's talk about, what's actually happening. So when you look at the sort of Tron price right now, you can see it's bucking the trend of the market. It's up 15% in 7 days. It's stable for the last day or so, up 10% for the last 14 days. So what actually happened, right? Let me jump back actually straight to what happened. Is what's this guy? What's this guy's name? This is a guy I was trying to think of his name before. Remember this guy's name?
no.
The founder? Justin Sun. It was going to kill me. It was going to kill me. Justin Sun, right? So this guy doesn't have the best reputation in crypto. I'll do your own research. They call him like a shilling king. Do your own research, right? But that's why I got out of Tron last year. But anyway, essentially their DeFi ecosystem, as we can see from DeFi Llama, is soaring. It's now the third largest blockchain in terms of TVL, which is huge. Like it's absolutely huge. It's it's really high. Now the surge can be attributed to its new algorithmic stablecoin armored USDD. Now this is completely different because it's not UST, it's USDD. Notice there's a D instead of a T. Completely different. Right? Completely different. Don't tell me. There's clearly an additional letter here. So how dare anyone tell me it is the same thing, which has ballooned to $500 million on promises of not 30%, not 20% APY, 30% risk-free yields. So again, like Terra Luna, not 20% APY armored, no, 30%. Completely
Yeah.
different letter and 10% more APY. This is what I'm saying. History repeats itself, man. People don't learn. We literally just yesterday, metaphorically. Just yesterday, we
Yeah,
had a crash that took down half the bloody market, and people are still, pumping and dumping this thing and trying to get 30% yield. Like, when are you going to learn? Like, this just happened, man. It blows my mind. And literally here it talks about it has a similar stabilization mechanism as Terra's USD stablecoin. So, I mean, which suffered a $40 billion death spiral, right? I don't know if you're in this. If you are, I would probably run for the hills. Not financial advice. You do whatever you want to do with your own money, but
yeah,
it's scary, man. Like usually, like, history repeats itself after a couple of years, not a few days. But anyway, that's what's happening with Tron right now. That's why it's bucking the trend. Thoughts on that, Ahmed? Because I think that's really,
yeah.
really interesting.
So, guys, this is you guys heard it here first, and for that, I think I should really like, share, and subscribe because honestly, we talked about Luna, we talked about Av, we talked about Soul, we talked about when they were gonna go up, when they were gonna go down, and you know, it did happen to happen. Not it's not financial advice, but look, the analysis and understanding macroeconomics and basic data, you can determine what's potentially gonna happen in higher probabilities. So it is higher probable that history will repeat itself even with Tron, and you heard it here first. So we're protecting you. So share and subscribe.
100%. 100%.
Yeah,
So the last thing I want to talk about, Ahmed, is I mentioned this before, Avax, right? Um, I'm really impressed with Avax. Like, we've done a lot of features on Avax. We've done special shows and snippets on Avax, going into their subnets and why it's different and how it beats the blockchain. It's probably the closest thing to beating the blockchain trilemma, if I can get that out. Decentralization and speed and security. Now, it's arguable it's not as decentralized, but it is definitely better than Solana's tokenomics, if I can say that. And I'm a huge fan of Solana. I'm still a fan of Solana. But one thing I didn't talk about, because we want to get through this quickly, is Solana. It didn't have an outage this week, but it had its clock, or whatever you want to call it, was back by 30 minutes. So whatever was sort of happening on the blockchain was 30 minutes behind what really was happening. So it was still working. It wasn't an outage, but it's these things. Like, I've said this probably outages ago. I know this is not an outage, but the more and more this happens, the less sort of confidence people have. So I've got a little bit of Solana left. I've made my money off Solana. I sold it. Now whatever's there is just free for me. But yeah, I'm not as bullish on Solana as I am on Avax. So on Avax, what's happening right now? So the whole the apes, the crypto apes, whatever they're called, right? They run by Yuga Labs. So Yuga Labs recently proposed moving the other side metaverse game land from Ethereum to Avalanche. Now, let me explain that. So Yuga Labs, that's the company behind the apes, Bored Ape Yacht Club. That's what I was trying to say before. They're also behind a new game that's coming out called Other Side. It's a metaverse game, and right now they're releasing land plots. So what actually happened last month? They released land plots sales for their game, and it jacked up the Ethereum gas fees to about $180 million. So just literally smashed Ethereum gas fees for that. Now, so what they've got a proposal right now, and they're looking to move from, or add from Ethereum's mainnet to a dedicated blockchain to minimize fees for future drops, because they want to keep doing, right, the ape world, metaverse, universe, whatever you want to call it. These guys are not slowing down. It's very, very impressive. And man, good luck to you if you have a Bored Ape from the collection, because I think it's a very good investment if you already have one. So anyway, they're looking for another chain right now because they can't deal with the gas fees anymore. And this is another reason why Ethereum needs to get its act together, because people are leaving. It hasn't added it hasn't added any users to its network. So it's one of those things where it's a little bit touch and go. So one of the chains they're looking at is Avax, of course. And this is a tweet by Eamon, who's the head or founder of Ava Labs, and he talks about the proposal that they have right now for ApeCoin to build a subnet. So the whole thing about Avalanche is subnets. You can have your own subnet for one thing that will not congest the rest of the network, will not add keys. For one, you might just want to do finance. You might just want to do NFTs. You might do coins or trading. And the other benefit that they have, which is why I think and I hope ApeCoin moves to Avax, is you can bring your own coins in as well. You can actually pay with your own coins. They also have IMX, Immutable X, and Flow in the mix. They're the other two chains that are bidding for this, I guess, but hopefully Avax gets it. But that's it for me, Ahmed. That's essentially the market update. Not a lot of depth in terms of other coins right now. And I think, if you read between the lines, you'd be kind of stupid to get into low caps right now. Now's not the time, particularly when Bitcoin might drop to 14K by July 4th. But proceed with caution. And honestly, I bought a couple more AVAX today. I did. I'm just DCAing in. What my policy is right now, and I've mentioned this before, is usually I put a particular investment per month, right? A particular investment every single month. What I've done is just halved that. So I'm still buying during this bear market, but I'm just halving that. And the rest of my half that I otherwise normally would buy, I'm putting that money aside. Not as stable coins because, right now, I don't know how much more stable coins I want to buy right now, but I'm putting that aside in my own native Australian currency for when, we sort of start getting out of these levels and it's time to buy.
Fair enough. Soon you should be able to put them into gold also when Souk NFT onboards gold NFTs. So if you don't want to
Fun.
keep you in stable coins, or if you don't want to keep it in fiat, you can buy the NFTs that replicate a specific amount of gold, and you can even get your physical gold if you wanted to. So there's some exciting stuff from that sense. Okay, so let me share my screen here and tell you guys what's going on with Marhaba. There's not a lot of updates other than the ones that I shared last week. Here, let me know when you can see
Try
my
again.
screen.
Oh, there we go. Perfect.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah,
fantastic.
we got you now.
So if you guys had already gotten a chance to jump on the Monday, there was Wednesday or Thursday, we had the product roadmap. If you haven't had the chance to watch the entire product roadmap, I highly recommend watching it because we go into details about each product. You see here, we're talking about Sahal wallet, then we talk about Souk, we talk about the different products. And we also introduced you to what's going on with the liquidity harvester. And then we also talk a little bit about Miro. Miro is the future of passive income in a halal manner. So a lot of things that was discussed there, and I'd highly recommend get into it. The other thing I would do,
What's one, two key things you're excited about from the roadmap presentation?
oh my god, I think okay. Look, hear me out. I'm really pushing for the Sahal wallets referral programs to go, because that way then a lot of people will want to refer their friends to the Sahal wallet, and then Sahal wallet will grow. The other thing I would say I'm really excited about is Miro itself, because there's a lot of debates in the background about which forms of passive income is permissible and non-permissible, and how much percentage can we make. And I think Miro kind of helps solves those initial discussions. So I'm really excited about that. And then I think in combination with the liquidity harvester, um, now maybe not as much for version 1.0, but version 2.0, when we can be a little bit more riskier than just stable coins and making up to potentially above 15 to 20% above that, because you have altcoins that you're working with liquidity. So some exciting stuff happening. And yeah, I mean, that's what honestly where I'm excited, because then I can take my tokens, my Marhaba tokens, which I've invested in, for which you've also invested in stuff, and I can just put it in the liquidity harvester, or I can just take other tokens, I can just put them in the liquidity harvester, and I can start earning passive income. I don't have to, because right now passive income is it's heavy to do with infrastructure. You have to go out, find real estate, you have to do this, you have to and nothing's truly passive because it's not, there's still human involvement. But with this, there's like it really pushes the boundaries of passive. So exciting. It's like, imagine you acting as a very tiny bank and benefiting from it in a halal way. So it's just it's like golden. Now you can be a bank yourself. So yeah, that's about
100%.
it. How about
Love it.
yourself? Did you get a chance to watch the whole thing, or
Yeah,
is
yeah.
there something?
I had a chance to skim through some of the stuff. The man from day dot for me, the liquidity harvester has been number one. That's been the most exciting thing. So it was nice to get some detail and clarity around that. So nothing new from me that sort of excited me.
Mhm.
But I did notice Avax was. Is it there? Is it on your screen there? I can't remember. Is it
Uh,
there? I
Avax
saw
is
Avax on one of the slide decks,
yeah, yeah, yeah. So Avax is our for our wallet and also for the NFT marketplace.
which I didn't know before. I didn't know that, and I don't know if that was development, whether that was even mentioned before or was on the card. So I'd be really interested to hear from Denise or ask him next time, like, what sort of Avalanche integration. You know what I mean? Which is really exciting as me as an Avax fan as well. So that was pretty cool. The new
Yeah,
thing that I didn't know about.
because Avax allows you to do more on the blockchain than just Ethereum and BNB. I mean, it is the future, right? And so
Mm.
there's a lot of differences that are more advanced when it comes to blockchain itself. So yeah, exciting stuff there. Okay, um, we another thing I want to talk about. I've told you guys we're in many different events. We're also going to be in this event, which is called Halal in Travel Global Summit. This event has a lot of big speakers and big representation. So and the Keep is going to be representing the crypto side and MRHB, so which is really exciting, right? You can see here you got the deputy prime minister and you got all these minister of tourism. So really a well established event happening. And when we get invited to these events, it just kind of goes to show the strength of the project and the team, and shows you that there's a lot of good stuff happening for the future of the project. One more thing I want to share here. I'm going to stop sharing my screen here. Is we recently um, were contacted by Global Brands magazine, and they are awarding us for the best Islamic crypto platform of 2022 global, not even just local but global. So that's some really exciting things that shows where our project is being recognized at an international stand, and as we're competing with a few other projects and stuff when it comes to Islamic finance and stuff. We are outshining them and we are performing at a much better pace than the others. And I mean, and if even if you don't look at it at a comparative manner, but you just look at it in a general manner, you see that we're being recognized, and people and different organizations and institutions see us as an upcoming future solution for the problems that we're currently facing. So yeah, those are the few Marhaba updates,
100%.
some exciting things that are happening. Yeah, any last comments from your side, Moby?
No, all good. It's good to get our show under an hour. Last week I know it was a bit longer. It had been a while since we spoke, but yeah, great show as always. Fantastic stuff.
Sounds good. Sounds good, guys. So we'll finish it off here. Hope you guys liked. Let us know in the comments whatever else you guys want us to talk about. Like, share, subscribe. I wanted to let you guys know also that there's playlists now. If you guys want to see the show and the different shows and how the journey has came up to this point, and all the advice that we've given in between, the playlists are there. You guys can watch them, and yeah, keep us in touch, and keep letting us know what you want to watch in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. Hit the bell notification icon and take care of yourself. Assalamu alaikum.
It's not like